Kentucky pulls off the 17-point comeback at Tennessee in stunning fashion. 17 points down in the first half. Kentucky gnaws at it. They get at it in the final 4 minutes of the first half. They get back within 10, and then bang, in the second half, we just go back and forth and back and forth. And at the very end, Kentucky finally gets over the hump, gets the lead, and they never look back. Denzel Aberdeen for Kentucky with 22 points. He's been trying to find his place in this Kentucky team. So has everybody, but he finally found it today, and he scores a career high at Kentucky, 22 points in 29 minutes. Colin Chandler with 12 points, and Jasper Johnson with 12 as well. Welcome to Random SEC, your best content for everything SEC related, from college basketball to college baseball to college football. And boy, oh boy, what a fun matchup today to start off SEC play on this fine Saturday that it is. The number 24 ranked Tennessee Volunteers, coming off a huge home win against Texas A&M in double overtime, don't get so lucky today. They had this lead. They had a big lead, and they were winning pretty handily. And at one point, it got up to 17 points in the first half. And then in the final 4 minutes, 3 to 4 minutes in the first half, they kind of let go of the rope a little bit. And we see that it turns out to be costly, as Kentucky pulls all the way back and comes up with the comeback upset win against their rival Tennessee. Guys, this is just a marquee game, an SEC clash. Like, this is what you wanted to see from this game, and everything delivered. Mark Pope squad, they were, they're shunned out by everybody, right? For good reason, decent reason. They started the conference play terrible. They had a terrible non-conference. Let's be honest. They're coming in this, stretch without Jalen Lowe, without Jaden Quintes, arguably their two best players, and they have just skyrocketed to 3-2 in conference play, and every narrative has flipped on its head, especially with this win. This is a Kentucky team that we're, arguing about, oh, they may not make the tournament, to now, yeah, they can definitely make the tournament. Obviously, they have a really tough stretch ahead, but what a start. A road win in Tennessee against your rival, a comeback win. And guys, I've said it before and I'll say it again. A road win in the SEC is just something you got to hold on to, because they're extremely hard to come by this year, especially. They've been few and far between. And I've said it. So the recipe to get into March when you're a team like Kentucky, you got to win your home games. You lost to Missouri, but I mean, you can deal with that, and you got to steal a few road games. This is a great start to that. You steal a road game at Tennessee, one of the toughest environments in the SEC, and just, you can't say enough about this Kentucky squad in this game, man. Everyone stepped up. They're obviously out of some players. Tega Owe, guys, he had a struggling first half. I think I even posted about it. He had 2 points and 2 fouls. That's about as bad as it gets, but he comes back in the second half, and, he ends up with 12 points, but he was just a factor down the stretch. And guys, if you're Tennessee, where do you go from this, right? It feels like you've been hanging on by a thread all conference play. You're 2-3. Your back's against the wall now. So what are you going to do? Jacoby Gillespie has been playing fantastic, but you got to have other guys step up, guys. And so at the beginning of this game, or like before this game, I said it's going to be huge and it's going to be vital that the big men step up for Kentucky, because, Tennessee, they like to play rough and tough basketball. They like to play some old style. They have some more traditional bigs. And yeah, in the first half, that looked exactly what Tennessee was going to do. They were going to bully them. And no, this second half, that final 4 minutes in the first half, Kentucky, finds it in them to just kind of rewrite that narrative. Look, I said Tennessee, Nate Amint's going to have a big game, and he did, and you still lost. So at the end of the day, you can't take your foot off the brake. Not in SEC play. This is a younger Tennessee team, not as much retention as, Rick Barnes is used to having. So they're still trying to figure it out. They're still meshing, and I'm sure Rick Barnes and Tennessee will get it figured out eventually. But this is not a loss you want to have, guys. You can't lose your home games, especially when you have a 17-point lead. That's what happened here. And look, it's all credit to Kentucky because what a second half performance. You know, can't stress it enough. Back against the wall, guys. Kentucky, Mark Pope, you know, Kentucky fans are, making lists for who their next head coach could be. That's something that can fire up a team, and it did today because in the second half, Kentucky just dominated, guys. I mean, they come out with a 2-point win, but considering how down they were, they just dominated the second half and it led to a win. And it's one of those things you got to chip away, right? You try to make a run, but it's a game of runs. They're gonna have their runs, but you just got to stay in within striking range. And at the final 2 to 3 minutes, take yours, you strike, and that's exactly what Kentucky did, guys. And I want to stress, I said the Kentucky big men are going to have a big game, right? Because Tennessee in the big game is elite. What did they do? Mo Diabate, this is a guy that I said is going to have an elite game. He did. He had a 16-point plus minus. That's exactly what you want if you're Mo Diabate. 10 points, but the boards that he had, the defense that he was playing, that's really where it really showed up. Guys, this is a Kentucky team that I never routed them off, right? Because sometimes when you have this team and everyone's telling you you're great, you're gonna win the Final Four, you're gonna go to the Final Four, you're gonna win the championship, $22 million roster, and then things don't go your way, and you're like, "Oh, maybe we're not." And it takes that adversity, that 1-3 start to conference play. It's similar scenario for Arkansas last year, right? They started 0-5 in conference play. Boogie Flan gets hurt. Adu Thero gets hurt. It feels like the season's over.